This is the Cafeconpod podcast.
Stay there from preschool to high school?
Yeah. I left after my sophomore year.
After the sophomore, what year
My
sophomore?
10th grade.
Sorry,
So my last 2 years of high
grade?
school, I was in a different school
Why did you leave?
for soccer.
This is perfect, bro. This is
Soccer, bro.
perfect. He
I
loves
love
soccer, George
bro.
Michael.
I
This is
love
perfect.
soccer. So you left to play soccer? Did you go to play in a team or what?
So I went to I was playing in Weston. I was where are you from?
I'm from Mexico, from Puebla.
Okay. Did you play soccer here too or no?
I played soccer in Puebla. Yes, I did.
Okay, in Puebla. Okay, cool. Yeah, I left
my whole life.
We went to school in Miami Lakes together. But you never.
He's never been to Miami. This is one guy.
I'm talking to him like he lives in LA.
Miami, but I literally always tell him you would love Miami. I've never love Miami.
I've never been to Miami, but my wife always tells me that I can be. I would always be a Miami boy. It's like you would be with your cigar, with your flowy shirt.
Bro, you would love Miami.
I'll make my accent thicker. It's like, yeah, bring me a beer. Bring me a beer.
So, okay, you love soccer. Continue talking. So George Michael left in 10th grade to go and play soccer for another high school. And then he actually went to college on a soccer scholarship. He went to go play college soccer in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, wow. How was the whole soccer college experience?
Interesting. It was interesting. I definitely got the college experience. It was a different world, man. To go from Miami to like middle Pennsylvania. I mean, I knew what I was getting into, but like when you live there every day, it's just different culture. Definitely a culture shock in a good way though. In a good way, and then I wouldn't say bad. It's just you take the good with the bad in a sense, But
right. Is it
the soccer itself? It was really physical. It was really physical. Everybody there was like 5'11" and taller. There wasn't that many small guys. I was
very fast.
I'm 5'9".
Very physical.
Very fast, very physical. A lot of teams they play less possession and more like long ball.
Okay.
Just like like box into people. Like we were a possession based team. Possession based team. That's why I went to school. Because that's the type of soccer I like playing. Like skillful, like good passing, offensive minded. So the school I was gonna go. I was either there or I was gonna walk on to a school in Florida called Florida Gulf Coast. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you. You were breaking up a little bit with your camera, but we can hear you fine.
Is it the lighting? Should I close the blinds, you think, or what?
No, it wasn't that. It was your Wi-Fi. The lighting looks a lot better than last week. You look like a serial killer last week. He was dark. He was so dark right in the front. You couldn't see anything. You just saw like a.
You can only see the reflection of the eyes from the computer.
So dark. It was so funny.
I had blurry. I had all this blurred too. I had a filter.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, nice.
That's good. And your cousin was sleeping in the bed. His cousin was sleeping behind him in the bed. Bro, this is literally what I wanted to do. We don't know what we're doing. So let's just put it. Let's just start. This is literally perfect. I already started recording it because this is what we did last week too. We just started coming on and just honestly just talking shit. Like there's not really anything that is special about this aside from the fact that it's an excuse to drink coffee.
Cheers, boys.
Hey,
yeah.
What coffee are you guys drinking?
I'm drinking
espresso machine.
Starbucks right now. I'm not gonna lie. I have a little Starbucks right here.
I have my Talavera cup because I wanted to be fancy for your podcast.
Wow,
that's nice. That's nice. I like that. I like that.
Talavera is an art made from Puebla, and you see here. I mean, you cannot see it, but here you have the artist that made it. If you ever go to Puebla, this is for the future listeners. Once you have your Spotify deal and millions of people listen to you, go to Puebla and buy Talavera. Okay, support Talavera. Mexican art.
Bro, that is fucking
nice.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Hi, Hope. Is that Hope? Is she back there?
That's Hope. Hope she's modeling some outfits she's gonna wear at Coachella. Nice. So she's like popping in and out, like, and I'm like, open, yes, open. She said, literally asking me, showing a little bit of boob or more boob. And because I support her expression, I say more boob. Why not?
And it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot.
And 100%. And that's, again, tell me you're married without telling me you're married is you have at least I get 2 fashion shows a week from Sky.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, can I show you what I bought? And I'm like, sure, let's do it. And I just sit down and I just watch her. I just watch her model a bunch of shit. She's like, what about you? Do you want to model? And I go, I have had the same clothes in 7th grade. So
yeah, same.
I don't throw out. I'm not good at changing. George Michael is good at fashion. I'm not good at fashion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He seems you seem good. You seem like you would be good at fashion, George. Yeah,
I like fashion. Yeah, I like fashion. I definitely like fashion. I definitely want to delve into it eventually.
Hope says hi.
I hope
no,
you
bro.
Have a good time at Coachella.
They hope you have a good time at Coachella.
Well, we don't have to hope, we know you will.
Yeah, we will.
Have you been to it or not? Have you been to Coachella before?
Yeah,
no?
we went last year, and we did the whole camping thing, and it was brutal, man. It was too hot. You couldn't sleep well, you know. So this time we're staying at a hotel. We're being a little fancier this year.
Well played. No, it sounds like a smart move.
Hugh's going too. When is it? Isn't it like in 2 weeks?
It's next weekend.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is there anybody? Are you excited for anybody that's going to be there?
For a bunch of them. Honestly, a bunch of people, obviously, like Bad Bunny and all those big artists. But I'm more excited to I feel like, see, before I went to Coachella, I was always this type of person, right? We went because a friend was like, please, let's all go. And we're like, okay, we got to experience it once at least. But before, we were the type of people that would say like, Coachella is just a bunch of influencers, you know, taking photos. And yes, it is that, but there's also a bunch of people that I remember, I don't even know we were listening, and we were all intoxicated and we were all like dancing. And I literally thought I could do the craziest move right now and no one cares. And I started going so insane and nobody cared. And I was like, this is awesome. So yes, you get your influencers that are like all about the photo, you know, and you are like, but then you also get like regular people that are just enjoying great music, you know, which is fun. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like that's in any festival too, right? It's like you either go to have a good time or you go to show people that you're at the festival.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so we're going. We're excited, but honestly, I don't know a lot of the artists that are gonna go. But every time I arrive, either Hope or my other friend, our other 2 friends know, and then they're like, "Oh, this band is great, listen," and then we just have a good time, you know.
I was gonna ask what kind of music you like.
Bro, I like everything, but I have like seasons of music.
Bro, he just showed us a song. I don't mean to cut you off, but so we went out last weekend. Me, Sky, Hope, and Christian went out last weekend. And we went to this like wine and beer garden. We got a couple bottles of wine. And as we were there, Christian was like, oh yeah, I've been recording music with my boy. And I made a song and I do you guys want to listen to it? And we're like, fuck yeah, we want to listen to it. So then he was like, oh, okay, I'll send it to you. So he sent it to us, and then he was like, but you have to listen to it in the car. So he super underplayed it. You know, he's like, I'm just messing around, whatever. Bro, we turned this thing on when we're driving in the car, and Sky and I look at each other, and we just say, this sounds like fucking Mark Anthony, bro. What is happening? It's Mark Anthony in el estilo de la música. You know what I'm saying? It's like super fun, literally. Like going up, you want to move. We got out of the car and we're like, dude, that was amazing. He goes, we were just messing around. You know?
Well,
like,
you know,
that's the best though.
Well, because that's the philosophy that we're having now with our new songs. That because with my friend, since we were in high school, we would play like out of like supermarkets, you know, and then just when we used to smoke cigarettes, just buy a pack as underage, you know, and then get coffee and then drink, smoke, and then just play for fun.
Jam out.
And we used to just love that, you know, play. And then once we started becoming older, our music started getting like pretentious, and they like, oh, I want to change somebody with this. And then our whole passion died because of that. And then I told him, let's just do, you know how before we used to have fun, so let's just create songs that people can enjoy when they're drunk and want to dance, you know?
Yeah.
Let's not try to change it. Let's just entertain. So that's how this song came about.
It's like jazz. Jazz in a sense was that. It's like a lot of it's just in the moment and improv and just have fun with it. And if you have chemistry with the other band players, that's all you really need.
Yeah, so, no, it is a lot of fun. But to answer your question, right now I listen to a lot of this past 2 years to a lot of banda. I don't know what banda is. It's very like regional Mexican, which is crazy because before I would never listen to banda. I would just be like rock, pop, you know.
Yeah.
But this past 2 years, I'm obsessed with banda, man. Like, even Spotify knows now. You know, it's like, hey, you know how it tells you this new artist released this new song, you know, and I'm always like driving and be like, you know, what kind of music do you guys like?
Go ahead, Isaac. You can go ahead.
Oh man, I suck at music.
I was gonna ask you guys if you had to pick like your top 3 genres. I feel like that helps a little bit.
I mean, it's hard for me. I forget who I was talking to about this, but it was like, you know how there's so much to watch right now, so sometimes you just kind of go back to watch the things that make you feel what you know you're gonna feel. You know, like I'll go back to the old faithfuls a lot of times for movies and things like that. But for music, I love for whatever reason zoning out when I hear music. So I really like film scores. Like I am obsessed with film scores, obsessed with them. So I listen to that a lot. But I think lately, aside from that, it depends, man. Honestly, I'm kind of going through a country phase right now. Yeah, like I've been listening to Morgan Wallen for whatever reason. I don't know why I've been going through a country phase, but I've been going through a little bit of a country phase right now. And then I'll go through like classic rock. I really like classic rock a lot. I listen to that a lot when I'm working out. I listen to some classic rock. And then I always go back to rap. That's kind of, I mean, that's what like we grew up on was hip hop and rap. You know, like Wheezy, listening to Lil Wayne, whatever, Drake growing up, and 50 Cent and all that. So I'll always go back to that too. But I think my tops, it's weird though, dude. We listen to Frank Sinatra when we eat also. You know, we'll tell Alexa to play Frank Sinatra or like Leon Bridges, you know, just because like I like music. I've been listening to Thundercat lately too. I don't know. I just like music that makes me want to like move. I like music that makes me want to move, but I also like to zone out, right? When I'm listening to a song, I like to kind of stare out into the distance and just kind of let my mind go wherever it's gonna go, because that's what happens a lot of the time, right? Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's weird. My music taste is not, I'm not good with music, you know? It's strange. Sky is unbelievable. I have a pretty wide range of music taste. I really like listening to jazz as well. You know, like I love old school jazz like Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong. I like listening to that, but then I'll listen to rock, Linkin Park, and then I'll listen to rap and film scores. So it's
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like all over the place. I really want to listen to more reggaeton, to be honest. For whatever reason, I've been thinking like I don't know any Bad Bunny or anything. I just know that one time I was like, hey, me pregunto, tengo una novia. Tengo una novia. You know, that's like literally the only song that I know. That's the only song that I know.
That's not a bad one to know. That's not a bad one to know.
That's the only one that I know. And
not a bad one.
Bro, I think it was Maluma. It's Maluma. Yeah,
Maluma.
Yeah. He has a compound in Colombia. And he has this do you guys watch AD? Do you watch Architectural Digest?
Yeah, I saw his and J Balvin's videos.
Oh, maybe it was J Balvin. I forget. It was either J Balvin or Maluma. I forget which one it is.
Was it very zen?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like all made by like a Japanese designer.
Yes,
with like
and there's and at the end of each hallway, so the feng shui of the house at the end of each hallway, there's like a tree in the middle of the hallway at the end that basically cuts the hallway and shows you where you're supposed to go. So it's like everything is inside of, it's like a tree house, but he's like,
it's like sauna vibes. Property. It's like a sauna vibes, and then like
bro, it's so beautiful.
Japanese
that one
vibes,
and Aaron Paul's on Architectural Digest is amazing.
Is this the Aaron Paul's his house in which city? That is like
Idaho.
all wood
in Idaho.
You guys gotta see Lenny Kravitz's. Lenny Kravitz in Brazil.
I've seen that one too.
Okay.
Bro, I love
I
Sky and I watch
It's a great YouTube channel. It's a great YouTube channel.
We'll get a little we'll put on our wings and we'll start flying and we'll watch Architectural Digest and be like, man, that would be amazing to have that.
Yeah.
not even more so that is to like really appreciate the artistic work.
Oh, absolutely,
of the architect, you know.
Absolutely.
I like architecture a lot too. I remember in my interview I brought that up for my engineering job, and the guy's like, "What does this have to do with music?" I'm like, I was like, I see music in architecture as well, like shapes and stuff.
Well, okay, so that's a good little point right there. So George Michael, so we've known each other since we were 4, and then he went to Pennsylvania, but then he left that school and he went to Full Sail, right? So I went to college in Orlando, and George Michael went to college in Orlando also for what was it, music production?
Sound engineering.
Sound engineering. So we went to, it's one of the Full Sail's like a big school for instance, behind the camera, you know, like directors, DPs, all that kind of stuff. It's
a lot of entertainment based jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the WWE used to have
they still do. They have events there. They have events there now.
Stages, the live events and stuff like that.
Oh shit. So, okay.
You can go there for film, like digital design, game design. That's like the Harvard for game design.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That place is really dope. And so then we got to spend a lot of time together in college also. Like he literally lived at my apartment.
Block away. First week I didn't get my apartment yet, so I stayed the first week at his apartment.
That was fire.
The couch. Then I lived a block away from him, so I would go there 4 times a week to his house.
So what did you study, George?
So when I was in Pennsylvania and doing soccer, I was studying music with the emphasis in music history.
Okay.
I wanted to do say it again.
No, keep going. Keep going.
So then after that, after I was done playing soccer, I was like, well, I want to get a degree that's more like modern based, because what I was doing, like the school I went to in Pennsylvania was very old school. It's like it's like as old as this country. It's like by towns like the war at Gettysburg, where like basically there was like wars for independence. So this like an old school. So like the curriculum there was very old school. So I was like, I need something more. So I actually went on a cruise on New Year's with Isaac and his family.
Yeah.
And there I told him my story, and I was like, I might take a semester off. And his mom was like, don't you do that. We were eating dinner one night. She was like, don't take a semester off, because then you take a semester off and then you're gonna take another one. Who knows, right? Like she's like, and anyways, there's a school that we know that sounds like what you want to do, like something more modern based. I had seen commercials, but it was like 30-second commercials, and their logos of a plane. So
yeah, it is a plane.
Commercials telling you.
It was strange. And then you went to go look at the school.
It's like an aviation. It looks like an aviation school in commercial, but you know it's not.
Yeah.
So then like I took a tour. They told me like, hey, you could take a tour. They give free tours. And I went, and I was like hooked on it. I was like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I was gonna do music production, and we were about to start the tour for the music production, and my dad and I looked at each other and we're like, nah, this is not what I want to do. And we tagged along last second to the sound engineering. We sneaked in with them to the first room they were gonna go to like talk about the curriculum. So we took the tour with the sound engineering. It was like borderline almost emotional at first, because I was like, I looked at my dad, I was like, finally I found something that like I'm gonna be passionate. I'm passionate about. I got the feeling of like when Harry Potter went to Hogwarts, and he's like, wow, there's a place for this, you know?
There's a place for me. Now, I have a question for you. So what specifically entails sound engineering? Is it like, will you be like a music producer? Is that what it is? Or
so I started making music when I was about 16, 17. I just started in study hall. We were talking about it in the first episode. And basically, I played instruments growing up. Like he was in choir and I was in band. I played the trumpet, I played the French horn. My parents put me in piano lessons, guitar lessons, but that didn't last long because I didn't have patience for that. But I did have patience for the piano lessons. And then when I went to school, I kept taking piano lessons as well, like here and there. So then I stayed in touch with music. But in high school, when I left the high school we both went to play soccer, they had a nice library. It's a school in Boca. Nice area, so they had like nice MacBooks and stuff, and study how I would make beats of like I would put an acapella of a rap song and then add my own beat to it. So that's how I learned
Okay,
how to
nice.
make music. That's how I knew how to read music, obviously playing the trumpet in middle school and stuff like that. But then eventually I was like, I'll just teach myself how to make it. And I did. It was fun. And then after that, I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep pursuing music, I guess. I thought I wanted to be a nurse. I was like, nah, I don't want to be a nurse. I just need a... At first, you're like, you don't know you can make a career out of this. You think everyone tells you it's a hobby.
Right.
But I just stuck with it. So I studied music in college. Then I went to sound engineering. And for sound engineering, they tell you a lot of stuff there. We did show production because they were trying to get a lot of people to go do show production. As well as like sound for film, pre-production, post-production, Foley, basically everything that has to do with sound. And I already know how to make music, so that's why I left the tour for that, because I already knew how to make music. I was like, I'm not gonna get a degree in something I already taught myself.
So you know,
I knew music theory and all that. I already knew all that already. So
and
I did sound engineering.
And that's something that's bled into what you're doing now.
You cut out.
We cannot hear you, Isaac.
You guys can probably hear me. Hear me now?
Yeah, I'm on the computer.
Yes, now.
I know. Hold on. Let me see if this can.
Hold that thought, because it sounded like you're about to do a nice uppercut.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay. All right. So my mic might cut off, but that was something that I was going to bring up because George Michael now, him and our other boy Hugh, they're like in the music scene in Miami and they're DJing and things like that.
Oh yeah, I know Hugh, right?
Yeah. You met Hugh? Where did you meet
One
him?
time. One day.
Right, at Willow's. That's right. That's
yes,
right.
Yes.
Yes. So we all grew up together. Like we've known each other
Nice.
since we were 4 years old, right? And
nice.
We
took art classes together when we were kids. Remember that? That was the first form of art I ever did.
I painted a shoe. It was the best shoe I've ever painted in my life.
Me too.
That was something that I wanted to ask, was because and you and I talked about this a little bit, Christian, when you were talking about the form that you and your friend were making music and how you guys used to make music, and it was very pretentious. You know how you were saying like that. But
yes.
That like the journey in studying something and wanting to do something, and then life comes and you kind of have to take a separate avenue in order, life takes you one way, but you still are trying to do that. And I feel like all of us you were talking last time that we hung out last week that you're very good at constantly kind of keeping your creative independence up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, tell me what surprised you moving out to LA in terms of how your journey has become itself. You know what I'm saying? Like how you've gone from trying to do that and into like the reality, and then how your expectation has changed, because that's something that we've all, I think, experienced as artists, right? You have a certain expectation and then things change.
For sure. Well, I think with I don't know, man. I think I would say I'm in a good place right now emotionally, I don't know if like financially and all that stuff, but emotionally I feel happy. Because I think at least the journey for me, it's been, I'm primarily an actor, and I grew up my whole life with teachers and people telling me like, you're a good actor, you're gonna make it, don't worry about it, So when you, even in college, teachers that maybe wouldn't say that to other people will be like, it's coming, and then.
And where did you go to school? Where did you go to school for college?
So for college, AMdB, the American Musical and Dramatic
Out
Academy.
here though, right? In LA?
Yeah, in New York and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of like you have a lot of like teachers, that are like on Broadway or are doing, I mean, like you're gonna be, so in a sense you create this kind of like expectations for yourself, I never seen myself, maybe I've been, but I've never seen myself like as an asshole, like, oh, I am the shit, I think I've always been nice, but you do have those expectations, when you move, and as an artist too, that like, I am going to be the one that is going to change my generation of Mexican actors, I'm going to be a pioneer, and you dream with like, because you're young, you're like big. 20, you're like, I'm going to be the next big thing, and you just wait. Me with power, I'm gonna be so kind and nice to everybody, and then you put yourself out there, after graduation, and then you go to the auditions, and then you go, and then everyone has their own journey, and my journey has been like a lot of rejection, from the beginning, from like rejection meaning like big TV shows, big movies, you know, like just a constant no, 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 you know. So that is kind of like it passed in last year is the first TV show that I booked, and it passed 6 years passed between my graduation and then, you know. So those 6 years is like my ego had to get tamed, you know, my expectations, my everything about what I was expecting from this career had to change, you know, and it's tough, you know, because you are like maybe you develop a lot of insecurity, you know, and it's either you either become like, you know, this is not for me, you know, that sometimes I do tell myself, look, the moment that it comes and I find something that makes me more happy, that I can actually do more and it's easier, I would do that gladly, you know. But so my journey was like, oh my God, art, I bleed for my art, you know, I'm an artist, very like craft acting, you know, the skull to be or
How
not
you
to
used
be,
to
that
write
type
your
of
music with your boy, the way that you and your boy used to
yeah,
write your
man.
music.
And but the funny thing is like when I was a kid, I was just playful. Every single play I did in my little in Puebla, you know, in my city, was playful music. Everything was coming out of a play of like out of a engine of playing, of enjoying, of being in the moment. And then when school arrives, it's like, oh, I got the tools and now I can really be what I wanted to be. And then I mean, I think it was a good lesson, but because I did learn a lot of tools for the craft of acting, you know, that I don't think I would have learned them otherwise. But it did make me more self-indulgent, more pretentious, more of like, oh no, no, let me analyze this text or like what part of my soul I'm gonna put in this role now, you know, what put this, and then that, and listen, if that was me as an artist, right? If that was in my essence, great, because I know a lot of people that are that, and they're happy and they're great at what they do. I'm not saying that is wrong, you know, but I did discover that in my creativity that wasn't that good for me,
It
you
was
know.
blocking.
And
It was blocking you.
it was, yeah, it was restraining me more than freeing me. And how I see acting is, yes, you gotta prepare yourself, you gotta do whatever your process it is, you know. You gotta do it and then play, forget about it, you know. And I also, and then so through the years I had to, like, I was doing that for years, and then I was becoming really unhappy and very bitter because that wasn't me, you know. I'm more of a let's play, let's improvise, you know, let's do whatever, you know, whatever. And when I started doing that, which in a sense you can put it as a I care less. It's not that I care less. Also, a lot of things in my life start being more a priority. You know, when I graduated, oh, the show must go on. Whatever happens, the show must go on. Are you kidding me? Right now, something happens to a family member, I'm leaving the movie set or I'm leaving the play. I'm gonna be with my family member, you know. So I think those 6 years really helped me to like put things into perspective of what really matters, you know. Before, I think I was first a human being, an actor, then I was a son, then I was a this, you know. An actor was like the big thing. And with the years, I've realized like, no, acting or like anything that I do, you know, music. I love soccer. I still play soccer for fun, you know. But I'm first about the people first, you know. I'm first a husband. I'm first a son. I'm first a friend, you know. I think what really matters in my perspective is relationships and it's people. And when I started seeing life that way, I, you know, I already got what I needed to be happy, you know. And then acting became this other way to express myself, you know, my creativity. I did find out I'm happy creating, you know. So how I survived the 6 years of not booking anything was creating my own short films, and we did like a theater company and we created plays, you know, that we performed for 10, 15 people. That at the beginning you are like, fuck, are you kidding me? I didn't go to college to perform for a few people. But then at the end of the day, I realized, but you know, the process of creating makes me happy. Like, it makes me happy. That's it. Even if it's for sure, would I want to have 2,000 people show up to the theater? Of course. But but having 15 people maybe is not the best situation, but still makes me happy. You know what I mean? So I think now I'm at a point that also with this career, I have learned that tomorrow I can change my mind, and that's okay too. You know, I can be like, no, tomorrow I'm gonna take this role and I'm gonna put all my traumas, and that's okay too. it also made me realize that with the craft, everyone has their own ways, you know. I feel like in school, it's always like, oh, you got to do it this way. Because if you don't do it, it's wrong to do it this way, you know? And now I'm like, whoever I'm working with, you know, even if it's someone that is their first time acting, I'm like, I respect their process, whatever their process is, because the truth is, they might give me so much more honesty than I can give them because I don't know, you know, I see acting, you know, a lot of it as like almost like as a sport, you know, like it's like, sure, I went to, let's say, soccer school my whole life, but guess what? The guy from the barrio that played his whole life, it's the one playing in Barcelona right now, you know? So I respect everyone's process now in a sense of like, I don't think my process is better. I wouldn't put my process on you, you know? If you want to memorize your lines for 100 days, or if you just want to wing it the day off, I respect that. So it made me more like flexible and understanding these 6 years, which makes me happy, you know. And a lot of the things that we were talking about is, you know, like I just turned 30, so I'm not just thinking about like, oh,
we're all
you know,
30. We're all 30.
You know, 30.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, I'm like also thinking right now, like, oh shit, man, what kind of man do I want to be? I mean, it's not like I'm not a man now, you know, but it's like now, like I really think about like if tomorrow I'm a father, you know, like what type of father do I want to be? You know, what type of values do I want to develop in my life? You know, and I don't know, it's everything. You told me something super nice the other day that was like, you know, your definition of success is gonna change over time, you know, and so I think now when I create, it's more of I don't know, man, like, and maybe this is just a stage, you know, but now if I'm creating something, at least right now, before I was like, I want to change your life, I want to change now it's like I just want whoever is listening, if it's music or watching, to have entertain, even if it's drama, you know, to have them hooked, to have them
to feel something.
Before I'll be like, Hollywood, oh Hollywood, what a horrible place. Now I'm like, are you kidding me? They're making movies and people are going there and having fun. Now I'm like, I get it, you know.
It's from a non-judgmental. It's from a non-judgmental place, you know.
Yeah, and I think as an artist, what you say is either you accept all processes or you just really want to. Now, maybe if you stick to your own ways and you're like, I just want to do it this way, maybe you do become the next like people that change something. But I also realize I don't want to. I just want, if I can make people to have a good time, I'm good with that, man. You know, I don't need to be Marlon Brando.
It's so out of our hands too. That's the other thing. Is like, I think that this whole notion of, because I feel you, bro. I feel you on that. You know, and when you're talking, a lot of what you were saying for me as well, like going to school, when you first start acting, you know, at least for me, it was this thing that just kind of happened. It wasn't like I planned it. You know what I mean? So it just happened and you did it from this altruistic sort of place, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. I just did it, and it was like lightning in a bottle. And then you go and you learn craft, and to me it's like kind of the Wizard of Oz, seeing behind the curtain and seeing the wizard. And then you're like, oh, so this is how everything works, and the magic is kind of taken away from it. Yeah. And so I talk to Sky all the time. I'm like, I'm just trying to get back to high school, Isaac, right? Because I'm just trying to get back to like that dude that had no idea what he was doing and was having the best time in the world.
Being playful.
You know, like that little play reading that you came and you saw me in. I had the best time in the world. And I was doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I was doing nothing. I was being just dumb Isaac. And that brought me so much joy, right? Because before I was like, oh, I want to, everything is always like, I want to do the best for the story and blah, blah, blah. And then I got to a point where, because especially being out in LA, everybody wants to talk about movies and blah, 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 and everybody has an opinion, right? But then I got to a point where I was like, bro, good on you if you made something. Congratulations. And if it's good, double congratulations, because it is so hard to make anything, period, from beginning to end, and have people come together and really create something, it's like, congratulations, bro. Good for you. And for somebody, that might be the best thing in the world. Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, you cut out.
You just cut out, Isaac.
No, I would say this. I would say the same though. That was my fear. Like, we can hear you. That was my fear. Like, going to study sound engineering, I was thinking like, am I gonna lose? Like, if I now I hear every song, am I gonna be critical? You know, and it's kind of what you were saying earlier as well. Of, we all come from a place where it was very playful at first, but then once we started doing something that had metrics to it, like studying it in a school setting, you become conscious of like, first, I feel like the first thing is like you can get lost in it and you're like, oh, this is my identity now. Like, this is, like you were saying, but then you come to realize, no, it's not, I can't let it be that. I have to let it be part of a part of my identity. And then, like you said, if I want to do something the next day, it is what it is. Like, you got to follow what your mind and your heart's telling you, and you can't let one thing, like, don't be a slave to the craft. Like, you're supposed to do what you do. Remember why you started doing it. Remember why you started doing it, and then that'll carry you on. Like, obviously you'll fall in and out of like, or like just becoming more aware, like you said, like those 6 years you felt like maybe it was just you were being too critical within the craft. And the things that require craft and a very creative like mindset is better without that.
And there's
like
no one right way of doing anything.
The first class I took at Full Sail was called Psychology of Play. That's funny that you mentioned about play. Like, the first class I took was called Psychology of Play. So that really put the mindset of like, I got to enjoy this. It can't be like, you got to define the state of flow. You can't be too critical in the moment, even though it's easy to be critical because now you have a degree in it or whatever it might be, you know?
Yeah. And I also feel like in the, you know, when you're doing something creative, you know, like, I mean, for you, music, you know, I've never studied music, but like, for acting, you know, that you have all these techniques. I feel like how I see it now, because then I was at a point that I was like rejecting techniques, like, fuck that, you know. And let me get back to Christian when he didn't give a shit about like objectives and verbs and all this bullshit. And then you are like, okay. So then now I'm like, okay, technique can be there for whenever I'm lost. Whenever my instinct is not guiding me anywhere, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do here? Like I don't have that inside voice that is like, you know, try it like this. If everything inside of me, that voice is dead, then I can be like, okay, let's just use the technique just to spark the imagination, to reawake that voice inside that tells me, oh, go here.
Get a jump start. You know? Get the cables and get the jump start going.
That's a perfect metaphor. It's like the technique is like a jump start. It's not the car, you know? Oh shit, I like that. It's not the car. It's just the fucking jump start, you know?
Clear, just,
and then your voice inside is like, okay, yeah, let's.
And I was gonna say too, even from like what you said initially, you're not going away from technique in a sense and trying to be too playful to be rebellious. It's to really just strip yourself down back to the core of how you started doing things.
Yeah.
So it's not too structured, but like you said, if you need a little technique to add a little, you know, pillar to like get you back on your structure,
guidance.
Then.
Just a little guidance every now and then. It's Adam Driver. I've heard Adam Driver talk about that before, where he was like, the only reason that he loved what, and I'm butchering what he said, but it was something along the lines of when he went to Juilliard and he got out, he goes, the most important thing that I took from that is the fact that if I don't know what to do, I have something that helps me go in a direction. You know, if I'm stuck and I have no idea, at least I can go back and be like, all right, let me stick to, and the technique is weird because it's usually just like steps, right? It's like, well, let's break it down to the base thing. Let's just look at the base thing. And then you go to the next step and it's like, oh, and then you go to the next step. It's like, oh, you know, and that's kind of those moments for me, at least, when the technique is just kind of like, what's the next step in the process? I'm like lost in the sauce and I'm not looking at your feet. Be where your feet are type of thing. Right. I think that's very important growing up. Also, you said something that was super important, is that your priorities have changed as you've gotten older. Yeah. And all these big actors, I was listening to Bob Odenkirk talk, Mark Hamill. When people ask them, what would you give advice to younger actors? They say, don't care so much. right? And I don't think that means to not care about what you're doing or put your all into it or 100%. I think it's, and Bob Odenkirk was saying, make sure you have a life outside of acting.
Yeah.
Bro, it's, what are we all doing here anyways? When we're gone, that we know of, we can't look back and be like, wow, I'm so happy I spent 15 hours doing that thing. It's like, I think relationships, what you said, the way you make people feel, right? And something else you were saying at the beginning, you were talking about, you when you get all this power, you're going to be kind to people and all that stuff. I would say that those little things that we set for ourselves early on, because you are extremely kind and gregarious to people, right? Like when you took pictures of the people when we were at the wine place and there was that group of people and you took a picture of them and you go, oh, it's going to be $25. And everybody's like, ah, he's so funny. You're so cute.
I did charge them $25.
But that's what I mean, bro. You bring people like you. It's a joy to be around you. You understand what I'm saying? So you are very kind. And you are
I feel the same way about you.
Yeah.
And my first time meeting you, brother.
Likewise, my friend. Too. Likewise.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's like important to have those little, you know, the thoughts. It's very telling as to who somebody's going to be. And I had somebody on a set tell me, be a good person. It's going to take you a lot further than you think. You know, when you're a good person, it takes you far.
Bro, some people get gigs not because they're just good at something. It's like people like, yo, they weren't a headache to work with. They were easy to be around.
And also, that's what life is about, you know? Like, it's like, sure, you make a movie or you make an album, but you, like, the interactions of a day are interactions with people, you know? That's what, like, the microseconds, you know? And I was gonna say something that you were saying about, about, like, acting, you know? And also, it's like, there are so many other things about having a life, that other skills, you know, that also make you, that can bring you joy, you know? For instance, right now I work, assist a building, you know, as a building manager. I work in a restaurant. Right now I work in the bar where I was a host, you know? And a lot of the stuff that I struggled for the past maybe like a year was like, fuck man, I'm 30 and I'm in a restaurant as a host. And I was telling that to my wife, you know, because host is like, people from high school are hosts, you know? People from like college do host jobs, you know? But then my wife was like, well, but this is the thing, like, do you enjoy it? Like, do you? And the truth is like, bro, I enjoy that job so much. It's a busy restaurant. I get to walk, you know? And then right now I'm behind the bar. I'm learning bar backing, you know? And I was getting into like bartending school. And I think I told you this, that I was like, my first day in bartending school, I was like, what the fuck am I doing here, man? You know, like, I want to be an actor. I don't want to learn a new skill. I want to, like, myself was like, I don't want to learn something new. And then at the end of the class, I was so happy, man. I was like, it brought me so much joy to learn how to mix drinks and how to fucking shake the thing, you know? And like, and there are so many things out there that can bring you joy other than the thing that you think is your thing, you know? And it's been open, to life, you know, it's been open to whatever life. I mean, what's the phrase, like, if they give you lemon, make a lemonade, you know? It's kind of true, you know? And I don't know, that's how I feel right now. I mean, that's not to say I still feel frustrated at, you know, sometimes I still feel like it is never black or white. It's always a gray area, you know? Some days I'm like, what am I doing this? Why, you know? But it's I guess like being conscious of that and finding the balance. I don't know.
That's balance, bro. That word, since I've turned in my late 20s, I would say, is when I really started to think about that. Because I think that is just the key to life. Because again, in any work, you get super caught up, but then you forget to stop and smell the roses. But then I also think, I'm like, well, damn, shouldn't I be working more? If I was, you know, sit in a room, make a company for $100,000 a year type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing? I always think that I should be doing more, but then I'm like, but then I want to enjoy my life with my wife. It's just the balance of life in general is just so key. And this is why, bro, when we did this last week, I told you, I saw you the day that we recorded the first one that George Michael and I did it. I was like, we have no idea what we're doing, but it's just so much fucking fun just to sit and talk. It's something new that we're doing. And I get to talk with my boy for an hour out of the week, whereas like we always text, we're always communicating with each other, but it's like an intentional time to just talk about this shit. Cause life is, bro, tomorrow we could be gone.
Yeah.
And
or we could be 40.
Or you could, and tomorrow you could be 40. Exactly. Fucking time does not stop, bro. That's the other thing. Time don't stop. So it's like what I love the saying, the only person you need to make happy is your 8-year-old self and your 80-year-old self. Right. So it's like make your inner child happy. And then when you're 80, looking back on your life, are you going to be proud of what you did? And it's just at the end of the day, bro, that
there was something you said too last episode where it was, I think it's going to be a revolving theme in like more episodes because it's become one now. In this one, at least, I'm thinking about it a lot. I was going to mention it earlier, was how you said, like, as the older you get, you figure out, I don't want to butcher it, but you figure out what you want to do by, well, how does it go again?
You figure out who you are by learning who you're not. So it's like,
so it's kind of like you figure out the things you like by doing things that you don't like.
Well, yeah, exactly. And as you get older, you're like, oh, maybe I'm not that person that likes to stay out till 3 a.m. anymore. Right? That's something small. Or I don't really like staying out till 3 a.m. and that's okay. Or, somebody's like, no, you know what? I actually don't like pickles. Whatever it is. It could be something, whatever. But the more you figure out, oh, I don't really like being in that circle. I don't like being around, that type of energy. It's not that it's wrong. It's just you start to figure out shit like, you know what? Time is precious. So let's spend it wisely.
This is the first decade we're not kids. So you realize it's like time is like, you have a more grasp of time and you're just like, I don't feel like doing that. And it's not because it's something good or bad. I just don't want to do that right now.
Not kids.
So you just like, you make an executive decision on it. And you're like, I don't want to do that with the time I have right now.
Yeah.
Whether it's because you don't have time to do it or because it's not in your heart to do it.
Yeah. And, we're all 30.
How have you felt? What do you think? What do you think? That's something I wanted to ask you too. Is what do you guys think is like some of the biggest lessons that you learned in your 20s? Looking back on your 20s now.
Definitely what we were just talking about. That's up there. That's like top 2 for me. Like now I just don't want to do certain things that I was like too impressionable to do in the past. But for another one, I would say I'm trying to be more selfless now. That's because I've like I said, I played soccer growing up, so it was just that, and I didn't care about anything else. Not that I didn't care, but everything was just secondary. It was family and soccer. So I would say now I'm like more open to trying to do other stuff, or like either like, I think the thing too, I was transitioning out of the last couple of years of not taking your career too seriously or what you study too seriously. I know like we talked about that already, but that's a big thing.
Yeah.
You said you went to school for sound engineer, and I'm like, oh, now I'm a sound engineer, and like that's gonna be my life. That's gonna be my life. And then because at a certain point when you get out of college, it's the honeymoon stage of it, and you're like, it kind of is your life. You're trying to get on your stripes. You're out there busting your butt. You're using your youth to your advantage because everyone around you is probably older in any work capacity, unless if they're the same age as you coming out of college. So I dove deep into it. I mean, I was interning at a studio, and it was like long hours. I loved it and stuff. And then like as time went on, I was like, all right, I want to do something where like I can give myself more time. So I was blessed to find a job where it was more like more on a corporate level. So there was just more like time off, because the studio world is very, I want to say unprofessional. It's just very, you're just in it, like there's no 401k or none of that. Like you're just in it.
Yeah.
Or even if it maybe is, but you know what I'm saying? The vibe of it is just like, it's like a show production. You're just in it. And it's like, you forget to tell yourself when to just like take a break until you like run into the ground. So I feel like that, I would say about being 30, my soul doesn't feel 30, but my mind's telling me to like, just be more conscious of things. You're older now. You're not a kid anymore, But I still have that. I feel like I still have like that young spirit. I still feel like I have that young spirit.
That's important.
Yeah.
What do you think, Christian? Because I literally have a note on my phone of ideas that I wrote when I was turning 30.
Well, I remember when I turned 30, I was kind of like which I know people that listen to this are older. They will be like, "Come on, kids, you're 30.
I know.
You don't even know."
I know.
But this is
But
the
it's
thing.
interesting.
Like,
Yeah.
when I turned 20, I was like, "Bro, I'm 20." You know, it always feels like, because it's personal. You know, I mean, I did get like, when I turned 30, you know, I think I was like afraid that I was running out of time. I was like afraid that I wasn't becoming who I wanted to become, you know, like my expectations or maybe how my life was going to be at 30, you know. So it was, now that I'm thinking, it's like when I turned 30, I guess a lot of the emotional struggles is not being when I was 20, like, oh, at 30, I'm going to be like this. But also like, so I would say like, take your wins, you know, like take the small wins, you know, and also like enjoy them. And also, I mean, something that I'm sure I'll never be able to do, but if I could do is like never define myself, you know, never define who I am, you know, like right now I am this. I work in a bar, I work in a building, I create independent short films, independent plays. That's who I am. I'm not a superstar. I'm not the, you know, and that's okay. Now that doesn't mean tomorrow I'm gonna play golf. I don't ever play golf. Maybe when I play it, I'll like it, you know. But I feel like a lot of the time we define, you know, who we are, and then that doesn't open up. That doesn't allow life to surprise you, to bring, you know. And that's been me all the time, you know. I don't do that, you know. I'm not a host. I don't work in a restaurant. And then when I start working, because I had to, was like, fuck, I do work and I do like it, you know. So it's maybe not defining so much who I am, and then just allow myself to become whoever my soul or whatever fuck the universe, God, or whatever you believe in wants me to become. I hope I never hurt people. That's one of the things that I'm like, whoa, I don't want to become a dick or an asshole, you know. I know I can be one. That's something good too, you know. It's like, I grew up with a great family, great parents, great dad role model, great mom role model. I had a great childhood, you know. So, and I was always very raised with like great values and being respectful to people, nice to people, kind and fun, you know. I had a great childhood. So a lot of the times, the bad feelings that I had was like, oh, these are wrong, you know. These are not good feelings, or like self-destructing feelings, or like bad feelings towards people, you know, bad. And it's also accept those. Yeah, I'm that too, you know. I can be a dick, I can be an asshole, I can be a piece of shit, I can be, and that's okay too, you know. It's gonna accept everything that you are without, and the way to accept it is maybe not defining who you are, but to be open. Yeah, I'm feeling like I hate this person right now, and that's fine. I feel like I love this person, and that's, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, 100%. And it's so important being reflective and also understanding. I think something that's really important is knowing that there is areas of self-improvement, and also having, again, that balance of accepting who you are and being like, I think who I am is fucking awesome right now. But then there's also moments where like, damn, I kind of think I'm lacking right now. But it's letting life come to you as life comes to you, and being open to the spontaneity of what life is bringing to you in that moment. Because if everything is always about trying to be one thing, you're gonna, again, put those blinders on. And dude, I respect people that do that too, because I'm not like that. I'm very much go with the flow, how life is coming to me. It's good to have goals and you try to achieve those goals, but I am also one that doesn't put blinders on, because I like to fucking live my life, bro. Like Sky and I go to Yosemite all the time, you know. It's like all that shit, we love to just take trips and shit. And I don't know, sometimes I definitely beat myself up over it, because I'm like, man, I could have been doing something else, you know. But then looking back on it, I never regret the trips.
You definitely remind me though to be like that. You definitely remind me to be like that. There's a couple months ago, he asked me, he's like, hey man, how are things going? How are you doing?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, awesome, dude. I just dropped some music, you know, like I'm dropping merch. And then he like interrupted. He's like, no. You didn't hear what I said. I said, how are you doing? You know, like not George Michael, the artist, George Michael, the person. How are things going right now? How's life?
I love
life when you close your computer? How's like things going? And I'm like, they're going well as well. I can't even lie, but now you bring it up. Yeah, I mean, it puts you in a perspective of like that stuff's cool, but that doesn't you can't let it define you. And even if you try to let it, it's not gonna fully define you. So you can't go in that mindset of this is all I am, because there's more to life than that. There's definitely more to life than that. And to ignore that part of life is not probably healthy or beneficial. Like you need that part of your life to where who are you if there's just nothing in your vicinity?
Who are you when no
like,
one's looking?
Like you said, take the blinders off. Where like in that moment, I had the blinders. I was like, oh, dude, the music's going well. Like, I'm like even like not even like on like superficial pretentious thing. I was like, the musical juices are flowing. I'm making a lot of music, and he's like, that's awesome. Like, I kind of expect that from you, but what is everything else in your life? How's that flowing? You know,
important,
right.
Yeah,
that's
huge
to understand the human side of it, bro. We're all just on this fucking rock, you know, like experiencing it in our own experiences based off circumstances, based off where we're from, the people that we know, the things that we go through. So it's like, why not be around each other and try to actually connect with each other?
Yeah, the first thing we are is human beings with a soul, if you believe in that. And then, but a lot of people forget, like, or not forget, there's just not. We don't prioritize that we're a human being. Like in Spanish, I don't know in English, I don't even think there's a term for this, but in Spanish, un ser humano, right?
Ser humano, yeah.
But no one says that in like modern English culture, like pop culture. There's no like, I don't know a word for that, right? What would that be in English? Like just
like a human being, like
human being.
But it has like some like meaning, a deeper meaning to it. At least like in Spanish culture, ser humano, like to be a ser humano is someone that could be coexist, I guess, or just be a good person.
It's like empathetic, you know, and having empathy. Hey, Isaac, what do you have on your notes that you said you were gonna share?
I completely forgot about that. Good call. Thank you for running our podcast.
No worries.
I mean,
we only touched like 2 things or 3
we
things.
Always, this is what we did last year too. Like I had a little guideline thing, and we literally maybe asked one question and then just talked for like an hour and a half about nothing.
We'll get back to those.
What it was. The first thing is listen with your eyes, not your ears. That was one of the biggest things that I learned. And what I mean by that is people will give you lip service and tell you all sorts of things, but then how do they act? Be very observant, right? Listen with your eyes, you know, listen to how people talk to you by the way that they act. I mean, there's a lot of other things. One of the other biggest things that I think, well, this too shall pass. It's a huge one. This too shall pass. Small habits change it all. Every single day, small habits. And then something else that I realize is that talking about relationships and being okay with relationships is that a lot of people come into your life and a lot of people go. And as you get older, I always look at relationships like a tree trunk, right? So it's like at the center of the tree trunk, there's like that inner circle that's tiny, right? And that's, you know, the people that are there for you in that part of your life. And there's like a little ring outside of that. And there's a little ring outside of that. And there's a little ring outside of that. And it's like people come into your life at different times and are in different rings of your relationship circle. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not saying it's any less valuable or more valuable than that. It's just the truth of the matter is that in life, that's why it's so important, the effect that you have on people, because they're going to be in certain rings. Sometimes you just don't talk to people for years, but then you see them again, you know, 10 years down the line, and it's like you just kind of pick up where you left off, and that's where they satisfy that ring out there. And I also love, I forget who said it, but I love the saying of like, everybody you meet is an expert in something that you're not, right? So everybody has something interesting, you know, like you literally, whenever I hang out with you, I'm always like being fed. I don't ever feel like you're an energy vampire, right? The people that suck that, I was talking to my cousin today about that. It's very much like I feel fed because you sit, you listen, you genuinely care about what somebody else is going to say, you know, and that's, I
like that when you say, if I'm wise, then I know nothing.
Yes. Yes. If I'm wise, then I know nothing.
So I don't even take that too literal of like, oh, I'm not dumb. I'm dumb. No, it's more of like, let me go in with the open mind.
Well, bro, everybody has their own story.
Listen to, everyone has a story, and you're all about stories, like you said. You like to tell stories, and you like to watch stories. You like to hear stories.
Everybody has their own story.
Life's about stories.
Just fucking laugh, dog. I just want to fucking laugh.
Life's about stories.
I want to drink. I want to laugh. I want to have fun with people. Like, bro, there's just so many things in everyday life that can get you down, period, that are out of your control, out of your hands. I'd rather just have a good time with people, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not to say that certain things don't need a certain gravitas to be down on, but it's just like, man, don't take life too seriously. Nobody gets out alive anyways. That's like one of my favorite sayings too. It's like,
yeah,
it's okay. You know, it's okay.
He has good sayings and I have good isms.
That's true. The George Michaelism. You don't
the
understand.
George Michaelism.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah,
I say some like really spaced out stuff sometimes,
bro.
and he's like, "What a George Michaelism."
Dude, we're also at an hour. Okay, so we've been doing this for an hour already.
We can keep
I don't want to
Okay.
hold. I know, but I don't want to hold up everybody's Saturday.
You go as long as you want, Christian. It's this is your world. This is.
But that's.
You're in
We
our
could keep going.
but this is.
I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. So I'm not. I'll tell you whenever I have to go. I'll tell you.
Because that's what. Well, I'm gonna have to go soon. That's kind of partially why I said it. Because I have to go soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's wrap this thing up, dude. But one thing I did want to ask was, what's something that surprised you specifically in coming to the industry out here and being involved in the industry now for 7 years? What's something that surprised you?
And I have a question after as well.
Oh shit, let's go.
Go ahead, Christian.
I feel like the opinion of the industry is always like kind of like negative, very like fucking people, just, and I feel like LA gets like a bad rep because of that. So let me push back on that. I think what I like about this, I don't see myself maybe like living in LA my whole life, but what I appreciate about here, even influencers, even people that are like, the worst type of people that you can think that are in LA, because in LA you get everything, It's like everyone is, in a sense, aggressively trying to become something, And maybe that expression comes out of like being too materialistic or being too this, But what I do appreciate about this, or what I saw, is like in every level, it's like people are just trying to create the next thing, There's this kind of like engine. Now, how they do that, maybe that's what I would say when people start fucking up, start stabbing people in the back or start doing all this thing, But what I do appreciate is people trying to, like, this need of belonging, that I think is very human. Like, I want to belong to this industry. I want to become a star and be applauded and be loved, and be chased or be inspirational, I think those are all like positive feelings that people have, and I think here people arrive and then everyone is, in the best term scenario, they want to be somebody, I want to be somebody. I came here exactly because of that, to chase something, so it feels like everyone's chasing something here, which in a sense is like, so there's two feelings here, right? When I talk to people that are not from LA, or they're not artists, I'm like, oh, what a refreshing thing, These people are just talking about Christmas, they're just fucking singing. There's nothing transactional, business-like, or like, this is so refreshing. But in a sense, you always are like, but in a sense, I do see part of myself that in that world, but I also see my pack here too, I also see myself in the fucking agent that is chain smoking and lying, like I also see myself there, I also see myself in the backstabbing and in the let's create and so in a sense, like, yeah, I do, even I'm not fully in the industry, I do feel like a side of myself belongs here, and that that kind of like surprised me, because it's like, even you're not welcome, you are kind of welcome. I don't know. It also, nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, bro.
Also great, everyone is trying to figure it out. But what about you?
Me? What's the thing that surprised me?
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly think one of the things that has surprised me this is just the first thing that came to my head was just how much of it's a big city, small town, right? Because LA has so many people here, and in some way, shape, or form, everybody that is.
You cut out.
You cut out, brother.
All right, you guys can probably hear me now. My head from my AirPods.
On the computer.
One thing that everybody that's kind of in the industry knows each other some way, shape, or form for whatever reason. It's really strange, man. How like everybody kind of knows each other and everybody knows somebody that you've worked with. You're like 6 degrees of separation from everybody. So I think that's one of the biggest things that surprised me is how it's such a big city, but it's a small town, and that's what I mean about like being a good person is going to take you very far. And I think something like what you were saying, you see yourself in all those different sides. Like I completely get it, and that's why really knowing who you are as you get older becomes super vital. Like if I would have moved out here when I was 18, I don't know that I could have lasted out here when I was 18, right? If I would have moved out here when I was single, 18, the mindset that I had when I was 18, the craziness.
You got me thinking of like famous people when they move out there when they're like 16.
I don't know. I would have been able to do it. Some people know how to do it, but I didn't have the proper mentality in coming out here and doing that, right? And then when I first moved out here, my mentality was like, get your head down, get down, the transactional type of thing. And then it kind of twisted into like enjoying experiences with people and understanding that there is a place for that. And then there's another place for really connecting with somebody. And you can merge the two a lot of the time, right? Whenever I talk about schmoozing, I always talk about the only schmoozing I know how to do is genuine schmoozing, which is I just know how to be myself. I don't know how to be anything other than myself. Now, everybody's layered too, bro. People have so many different layers to them. Yeah. That's one of the things that I always try to do, just like peel away the layers, even though we're still in this lane right now. We're still acting in this lane, which might be the transactional lane, but let's peel away the layers and be honest with each other. That's one thing I always try to be, just be honest, bro. I try. I don't always succeed, but I try my damnedest. So I think that was that's kind of like something that was different for me that I didn't really understand was big city, small town.
Do you think your parents instilled that in you, Isaac? Because my parents were
very much so,
like to the point where I would like snitch on myself as a kid.
For sure, my parents.
I was that kid. Like my mom would be like, "Hey, I'm here to see my aunt when she go get her nails done."
Yeah.
I'd be like, "That's not your aunt." She'd be like, "Shut up!" Like to the security guard. Like honesty, I guess, was a big thing for me as well. Yeah.
For sure.
Try to be honest and like a genuine person.
100%. Hey, I do have to wrap this up. I have to.
I have a question though. I have a question.
Well, go ahead.
Just think about where you are, like what Isaac says before I ask this question, where your feet are right now, right? So here's the question. My name is Christian and I am blank.
Bro, don't do that to me. I'm kidding. I'm telling you, I don't want to define myself, bro. I'm kidding.
Again? No, don't define yourself. It can be I am Christian and I am happy. I am chilling. I am tired. I am. Don't think deep into it.
Yeah, I am Christian and I am trying to have fun.
Christian, where can people find you? Socials, here you go. Plug it in, baby. You're our first guest. You're our first guest, bro. I'm trying to really be I'm moderated now.
I'm not big on social media, but you can find me on social media, I guess. But it's not like you'll find a lot of stuff there about me. You can find me on this podcast and social media, Gnecco Quintero. If you could come to LA, you can find me somewhere. If we run into each other.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, just I guess social media. But again, I don't respond if I don't know you, because you know.
Bro,
we're winging it, bro.
This was perfect.
I'm so happy you have a guest, man.
This was perfect. Thank you for taking time out of your Saturday, bro.
I had a great time.
I did too.
Thank you for having me. And you know what? What's like a great thing about this, like the value that I see about this, like personal to this, is like a lot of the times, you know, talking, like you have this thought, you know, in your brain, like what we talk about, you know. Maybe I had those thoughts, but it's not like I'm actually materializing the thoughts of what I'm feeling, of what I'm thinking, and sharing them with people and hearing you guys' thoughts makes me understand better my thoughts, you know, and so it's good. What you guys, I think, are doing for yourself and for other people are going to be good to reflect. We don't really have a lot of time to reflect on ourselves or what we think about life and share like that with people, you know. So thank you for having me, and this was a lot of fun.
It's been a pleasure, man. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to talk and have a good time. Like he's Isaac, man. Thank you for this, man, because you've said it more than once, because like, you know, like you're trying to like make that a reoccurring theme of just want to just on a Saturday morning just talk, man.
Why not? And have intentional time to put our phones down and like not be distracted by a bunch of things and just kick it with people that we enjoy, man. Just people that we respect, that we love. Just have some intentional conversations, man. This
Everyone
was awesome.
he's ever introduced me to has been I have a great time with. Whether
Amen.
It's out in LA
wait until you meet Christian in person.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to go out. Like I gotta go visit again. I was visiting a lot before the pandemic.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, bro. Come and we'll go to the beer and wine garden.
That was fun.
I always have a great time out there. I love visiting Isaac.
That was fun.
I was going like once or twice a year at a time.
I know.
Like,
and we should go to nature. Let's go to nature. Let's get into some nature. All right, bro. I'm gonna close this out. I love you both.
Yeah,
Thank you guys very much.
Bro,
God bless you guys.
Appreciate you, bro.
This was amazing,
George. Bye.
This was amazing. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
This is the Cafeconpod podcast.